Hello and welcome to Final Drive Sim Racing. We're back and really sorry, I hope you didn't miss us too much last week, where I was on my hollybobs and nothing stops me going on holiday. So we are back for another sprint race coverage session, and this week it is technically round 4, but it's round 3 for the drivers because that week was missed, which will be tagged on somewhere else. But we are at MISANO, a beautiful circuit in Italy, and we've got the usual sprint race format: 15 minutes quali, 40-minute race, 5-minute quali, 20-minute race. Top 3 from race 1 start at the back for race 2, so that'll give us a bit of a mixed grid and some interesting racing ahead. And your comms team, as always, is myself, joined by Luke Dugdale and Aaron Markham, as always. And as I said, we are at the beautiful MISANO circuit, and you can see a little track map there just to give you a flavour of what it's all about. There's the calendar. As I said, it's MISANO this week. We're at Donington for a long endurance race next week, but let's concentrate on what we got ahead of us for now. Quick browse at the table, and Dominic Ingle still top of the championship. Foster up to second after a stellar showing last time out. All to play for in both the Pro and the Am Championship, and you'll see these new tables as well. I've been busy creating and using my creative genius, and Reed and Mefferson for Jack's Racing, currently still top of the team's championship. And as I said, as always, I am joined by Luke Dugdale and Aaron Markham, and we've only got Dougie's face on screen because Aaron's camera's not working. Amateur hour, boys, amateur hour, part-timers, a lot of you. Awesome. Anyway, welcome, gentlemen. Aaron, is MISANO a track you're familiar with?
Yeah, ever so slightly. I've driven it in a couple of the MotoGP games. It's quite a flowing track. I've watched it on the television. Yeah, only ever driven it on a motorbike. I've never driven it in a car.
Okay. A new one for you, Dougie, you were saying before we came on here?
Yeah, it's a new one for me. From memory, I don't remember it at all. And I've done zero research, like a really bad commentator, but I don't have a clue. So I'm fresh to me.
Well, we're just waiting for the guys to sort of warm up and do their initial lap. So I think the best thing to do at this point is go to the VT, run VT, as they say. And this is my introduction to the MISANO track. I took some time this week to re-familiarise myself with the tarmac at MISANO. Hi guys, and welcome to my second track guide. So hoping to give you guys an insight into the experience of the drivers as we go through the season. And this week we're at the MISANO track, so let's take a look around the track and see what it looks like. So again, we're in hot lap mode, so we're just towards the back end of the circuit. Final corner coming up. So you want second gear, turn it in, wait for the grip, plant the power, get as much speed as possible down the quite short start-finish straight. You've got the second marker there on your left, that is your braking zone. Down to third, turn it in, down to second, turn it in again, quite a tight one. You want to get back on the power as quick as you can. This long right-hander, you've got to be patient to get on the power so you do not spin up the rear wheels, and hard on the brakes for the double right-hander, down to first, get it round, plant the power, off the power, back on the power again, turn it in, on the power, and through the gears now, down the second straight to the first real heavy braking zone. Fifth gear, and then you're hard on the brakes, down into second. This corner tightens as you go through it, so it's tempting to carry too much speed through there, and you may see drivers make a mistake through there, having to do that consistently. This one's a little tricky. You've got a little right, and then you're on the brakes, and another tight right hand corner, and then back on the power for the longest part of the circuit. We were on the power constantly through the back straight. And then you've got this little kink right, and then you've got another kink right where you're tempted to lift off. You don't want there, you want to be on the brakes, down to third, and then you want to go down to second, down to first for this tight right hander. And then you've just got a couple of corners left, up to third, lift the throttle just to make sure the front end gets enough bite, down to the last corner, again down to second as we did at the start, and then back on the power and across the line.
Well done, mate. This has been your
So there we go, folks, and that is your little track guide to MISANO. So a twisty little circuit, and a good fun drive, really tight and technical in the first half of the track, and then you've got lots of long straights and fast flowing corners in the second half of the track. So what did you think of that, Dougie? Does it look like one you'd enjoy driving?
Yeah, it looks interesting. As you said, it's got quite a technical section, which is nice, and then obviously you said it opens up some nice long straights. So I was going to say, where would you go for overtakes then, Mike? Or where would you say that's the best opportunity?
I would say probably you're looking at into a couple of the hairpins, really, in the sort of the first half of the circuit. That's really where you're going to get the best opportunity. I don't know if Aaron is the same when you're watching the superbikes and riding them, but that to me seems the most likely place.
Yeah, it's basically any heavy braking zone. So you're looking at, I mean, you would say turn 1 and 2, but it's not quite a tight chicane to sort of make a move. We might see more people following suit through there, but turns 4, turn 8, and even turn 14, maybe even 16 just before going back onto the home straight, all hairpins or tight 90-degree corners. That's where you're expecting the lunges, really.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with what you're saying there, pal. I mean, this you know, the fast stuff is fun. You're not going to get an overtake done, 150 mile an hour into a corner.
No.
It'd be something special. Anyway, while we've been talking nonsense and showing you around the track, the guys have managed to get some lap times in, and I'm delighted to say there's some new drivers at the top of the charts, and these two were pretty quick in practice as well, so this is not a one-off. And you can see from the timing screens there that Fairley is currently on pole position, the only man in the 33s, and then you've got Kane Jonesy. Oh, we've had a disconnect, I think. Fairley, who was in first, has suddenly disappeared off the timing screens. So I think he's disconnected, which is a shame. But Johnsy is currently on pole position then. He's just bumped himself up from second by doing absolutely nothing other than not having a disconnection. So the Welshman currently in first place with a 34.2. Foster in second at the moment. He's in the pits. There's still 8 minutes left of clarifying? That's not even a word. Qualifying. Jesus Christ, Michael, take your tongue out. So yeah, as you can see, he's just heading back out. A bit of a gap then back to Wes Bighouse. You normally see a bit more from him, so maybe he's just struggling in the early part of this session just to get the best out of the car. But I will say, as I said, Johnsy was top in practice as well, so he's clearly got the best of that McLaren round here. We saw him for the first time out at Spa. Yeah, he was sort of mid-pack there, really, wasn't he, Doug? So a pleasant surprise, really, to see him at the top of the timing sheets.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a few people at the top where significantly improved from last time. If you look, Foster's second, back where he was last season, and I think last time was he 7th, 8th.
Yeah, he was around there. Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't qualify particularly well, but I think he did finish better in the race, didn't he?
Yeah, so it's good to see Foster back up there. And as you said, Johnsy, or how is it, Johnsy?
Yeah.
It's good to see him back up. Well, not back up there, but up there. It's a good improvement. Or as you said, it might just be a track what suits him.
Yeah, could well be. Yeah, nevertheless, nice to see different names towards the top of the sheet. Somebody else has just gone off. Fairley has gone back to the top of the time sheets because he's managed to get himself back into the lobby. As he got back in before the session is finished, one good thing about this one, and unlike other games that we play, gentlemen, is that it does save your time and put you back where you were. So Fairley is back. Fairley is fairly placed back in first place. Thank you very much. I'm here all week. And Ash Humphreys has jumped Wes. He's got himself up to 5th. That's about where Ash's pace has been in qualifying, really, isn't it? I think Aaron, for the first couple of races, he seems to be about there, doesn't he? Sort of 4th, 5th, and had a couple of podiums, so he's doing okay in that.
Yeah, I mean, we both know Ash had a pretty good season last. I nearly said last season. He never quite qualified. I can't quite remember him getting many poles or front row starts, but he was always in the battle for the lead. So just following suit really from what we've seen previously. And a shout out actually while I'm on the air to Lloyd Reed, who's had very solid performances since joining this league, and he sees himself in 4th.
Yeah, definitely. And I think he was, again, another one who was sort of mid-pack end of last season. And he seems to have stepped it up a little bit for this season. He's, as you say, he has had some really good finishes. But the lead Honda, and the only Honda at the moment, because I don't think Alan Ross is sure this week, is Mr. Mefferson, who is once again up with the leading pack and doing a stellar job in that Honda. He's actually been bumped from amateur to pro status in the league, so he's in the higher tier due to his performances early on. So whatever the grading track was, it clearly wasn't a track that favoured him, whereas he definitely seems to have a bit more pace now. So 4.5 minutes left, not much in terms of position changes at the moment. Morris, who had his first win in the second race after the shenanigans at Spa, shall we say. It was, bring back Spa and Eau Rouge. What entertainment we had last week. But Morris picked up a fantastic victory. He's currently in the amateur league, if you like, a tier of the league. But again, under review, depending on how he does in coming races after his race victory. Scharf, who was a newcomer last week, and he is currently... the German is in 9th place, doing pretty well. Scott Balsini struggling this season, which I'm surprised at. I mean, he had so much pace last year, and he's in the same car, but he just doesn't seem quite to be able to hook it up this year compared to what he did last season. So an interesting one to keep an eye on, I think, boys, and see how he progresses through the season.
Yeah, I agree. I think the first race I ever commentated on, we saw him in like P3, P4.
Yeah.
He was way up there.
He was there all season, really, wasn't he? He was, other than mistakes or accidents, he was pretty much there. But anyway, he's just
another
been
guy.
Sorry, go for it, mate. Go for it.
Sorry, Mike. I was going to say another guy who was up there was Bart Tonks. Bart Tonks was always like a top 5, top 6 driver.
Yeah, very true. We'll get to Bart in just a sec, as I'm just introducing a new Austrian driver, Bastian Brunner, and he is in the Aston, and he is in the number 66, so we'll keep an eye on his progress. He's midfield at the moment. And then we've got Lewis Ricard, a new driver again. His livery wouldn't load. I've been trying to load it up, and for some reason it just is not having it at all. So he has got, what I'm told, is a beautiful Dunkin' Donuts livery, but unfortunately it's not available for our viewing pleasure at this time. Bart, as we were just discussing, a little bit off the pace, perhaps not his track. I mean, he drove superbly at Spa, didn't he, boys? And made his way through the field in both races, but he's got a tendency to run out wide and have the odd accident, isn't he? But definitely one of the quicker drivers on his day. But Dougie, he seems to have had more than his share of drive-through penalties, etc. so far, doesn't he?
Yeah, exactly. I suppose with Bart, the thing he needs to be looking at is just trying to keep that consistency. I think if he gets good consistency right, then he's up there fighting for first, second, third. So I think it's just going to be focusing on that consistency just to avoid them drive-through penalties.
Yeah, that's absolutely a fair comment. I mean, you've got to keep it in the white lines, as they say. The green bits and the red bits are not the racetrack, as Martin Brundle would say. So, you've got to keep it in there. Fairweather, another new driver this season. He's had a couple of decent finishing positions so far, but he's currently in 14th. Then you've got Alan Davis, another newer driver, and his teammates on holidays at the moment. So he's the sole Ferrari out there in that nice Rad liveried Ferrari. Prescott, who's back, and he's got plenty of colour as always for Snail Racing, and he's currently in 16th. Weaver's in 17th, currently on an outlap and looking to improve on his time. Damien Humphries doesn't really concentrate too much, as we've spoken to before, on quali, and tends to set up for the race. So he's starting at the moment in 18th. Stevens in 19th, he's in the pits as well. Then you've got Green, who raced with us for the first time last week in the McLaren.
Green is on the green.
Indeed he is. And then you've got Andrew Tasker, who's currently in last place. We have, a lot of drivers who can't make it, every week for commitments, which is why we see, we've got 30 odd drivers, but we only ever seem to get 20 to 25 on the racetrack each week for reasons of beyond their control. I guess that's what I'm trying to say, because we do have lives at the end of the day. We aren't professionals, and this is all done for fun in our own time. So yes, still no change at the top. We're still fairly in first, and Johnsy in second with Foster. Beerkhouse has just crossed the line and got himself up to third. So big jump, because he was down in 7th at the time. So he's got himself up to third at the expense of Foster. So Foster down to 4th now. Johnsy still in second. So 2 McLarens at the top. Reed with another great qualifying session finds himself in 5th. Humphries 6th. Scharf has got himself up to 7th. And he's off the track, so that's his last attempt now. So it's just drivers who are finishing the lap. Who's up on their time? Bruno's up on his time at the moment. So let's take a look with him and see if he can improve enough to make a position or two. At the moment, he is 3/10 up and on the verge of jumping up one position. Oh, he scrubbed off, I think, too much speed already. He went slow and fast out. This might put him up to 9th, and it does. And a great end to the session here for him, getting another position out of it. So great last lap there from Brunner, the newcomer. But that is that. So Fairley with what I believe is his first pole position since he's joined this league. So congratulations to Fairley on his pole. Yeah, nice to see some different names at the top, isn't there, boys? And I know we were saying that earlier, but now it's all confirmed and the laps are all done. It's lovely to see somebody else at the top, and hopefully that'll make the league a bit more competitive.
Yeah, it's nice to see a mix up. It makes it different each time when it's something new, I suppose.
Absolutely.
I thought I dropped out.
I was going to say,
I didn't know if you were finished.
I was just about to say, I noticed that Lloyd Reed had a very interesting livery scheme on his McLaren.
I didn't
He
notice
has gone for the mission win out Ferrari.
Oh, I saw that one in the thing, but I didn't put two and two together.
It's a McLaren Ferrari.
Yeah. Well, perhaps he loves Ferrari but can't drive it, maybe, or something.
It's got nothing on that Gulf McLaren though, has it?
I mean, what can I say? We could talk about that all week, and I probably will. I'll talk about it every week without fail. So, just if you joined us for the first time, welcome, and thanks for joining the Final Drive Sim Racing. I'm Mike Bullen. I'm joined, as always, by Aaron Markham and Luke Dugdale. In the comms box, we like to talk a lot of nonsense and have a laugh, but we're mostly here to talk about the racing. And you've got two sprint races, a 40-minute sprint race and a 20-minute sprint race round MISANO. So we've just had the qualifying session for the first race. For the second race, they'll only have a 5-minute shootout. They're lucky usually to get one lap in, so it's whoever can nail that lap. It's basically like a hot lap session. They might get two in if they're lucky, and the top three who finish this race can't qualify for that race. They must start at the back. So that always gives us a bit of a mixed up grid, and that is something to look forward to. But before that, we have got this 40-minute sprint race. So the drivers are just preparing now, loading up their setups for the race, which will be different to their setups for qualifying. Qualifying is just for speed, whereas the race ones are obviously consistency, a bit more stability, and a bit more tyre management and such. So before the event, I managed to catch up with two of our newer drivers, and unfortunately I forgot to unmute my microphone on the recording system.
20 seconds.
So you could hear all of their answers but none of my questions. But nevertheless, I've cut it so that's all you could hear is their answers, so there won't be any periods of silence.
10 seconds.
Here is Alan Davis, our Ferrari RAD driver, who I caught up with before the race.
Yeah, it's not been too bad. I mean, we're both quite relatively new to sim racing, full stop. We did a bit of Project Cars 2 over the lockdown, and that's been about it. So we're quite happy with how it started, getting used to the car that we're driving, getting used to some of the tracks. Never turned a wheel at MISANO before a couple of days ago, so it's all new. And just things like setups in ACC, it's different to what we're used to. So yeah, we're quite happy with where we are so far. I found it a really enjoyable track to hot lap round. It'd be interesting to see how the race plays out tonight with overtaking. There's a lot of fast corners knocking about where the opportunities to overtake are. So I think we're just going to have to be careful out there. It's one of those circuits that I find that practice is really key. Any of those corners you can lose half a second on easily. So you've only got to be slightly off it in a corner or two, and all of a sudden you're a second and a half behind the pack. So yeah, it's going to be one of those nights where just being smooth. Like you said, that first section, the two right-handers followed by the quicker left. I think that's going to be a key corner, getting momentum out of that down towards the hairpin. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it, though. It's a fun circuit. And it's an interesting balance between, a few of the guys we've been talking today about corner cutting. I think that could play a real part. It's so easy to cut a corner at MISANO, and you don't want to be notching those up early in the race because otherwise you're going to be nervous for the rest of the race because the drive-through. The exit to the pit lane is just so painfully long and slow. It's going to cost you about 35-40 seconds if you end up with a drive-through. So that could play a big part tonight as well, I think, in those slow corners, not just getting those apexes right and not being too greedy.
Yeah, so that was Al, our Ferrari driver, and great to get to speak to some different drivers and get their insights, and interesting to hear, how he's come up from, like we did, boys, from Project Cars 2 on the old console, and now a full hardcore PC racer in ACC. So yeah, interesting to see.
I thought it's a big change from if you
It's
compare.
the only way.
I was going to say, Project Cars is far different to ACC. I'm like, goodness me, it's a lot different. I remember making a big move. Took some adjusting.
It certainly does.
Yeah, I asked quite a few questions which you couldn't hear, and the second interview we hear from later is exactly the same, in that unfortunately I forgot to unmute my microphone. So apologies in advance for that one. Yeah, interesting to hear his insight into the choice of the Ferrari and the different cars, and yeah, like I say, it's just always great to speak to new drivers and get their feel for things. But we are almost ready now to start this race. The guys have been doing their warm-up lap. In case this is the first time you're joining us, this is GT racing, based on a Blancpain official GT World Series, and they do a rolling start, not a standing start like many other sport you will watch. So here we go,
Green light, go, go, go.
and the guys are going, and it's green light, foot flat on the floor, and away you go. It's a short drive down to the first corner compared to some tracks. Everyone's looking to jostle for position and keep it clean through the first couple of corners. Still good for Fairley and Johnsy at the moment. They make their way through. Foster has managed to get himself up. Reed has gone off and cost himself quite a few positions.
Oh, he spun!
And he spun. He has, I think, just got a little bit too happy on the throttle, offline, dirty part of the circuit, and that was that. And Johnsy's into the lead ahead of Fairley, so he's managed to make his way up into first. And Fairley striking. Oh, Foster almost collects the back of him there, and that's run Foster a little bit wide as he had to avoid the accident, and that's given Humphreys a chance to have a look up the inside. Now, is he going to be able to make it through? No, he isn't. Or you can see them all just trying to find a bit of a rhythm and find that zone to get back into now. It's very different to qualifying when you're jostling with all the other cars and dirty air flying about all over the place. But action packed already here, and yeah, a big disappointment there for Reed, who needs to try and come. Oh, Mepherson in the background, and I don't know if I think somehow Schaff managed to miss that. We're going to have to take a look at the replay and go back, because that could have been a massive accident. So we're just going to have to take a look at it. We're going to go on board with Schaff, who was behind that. So Mepherson through the first right-hander, through the second right-hander, just loses it under braking. Schaff, it's cool as you like, cool as you like, didn't even flinch, and yeah, somehow gets himself through without major issue. I mean, that could have been a 15-car pile-up, and somehow it wasn't. So. Yeah, what's your take on that one, Aaron? Brown trousers, or?
Oh yes, definite change of underpants.
I mean, it couldn't have got any closer, Doug, really, could they, without hitting?
No, I think he actually just waved past him as he went past his window, to be fair.
He probably, gave him a little nod on the way past, yeah. So all these cars still really close together, so it's really difficult. Humphreys still really attacking the back end of Foster, so it looks like Humphreys has got good race pace, but he's just made a mistake into the hairpin, which is costing him a little bit of time at the moment. But yeah, Johnsy still leading from Fairley at the moment, not much between them. Then you've got Foster, half a second back again. And then you've got Humphreys. He did make a mistake, which is why he's a second back. He was a lot closer than that, so maybe he'll close back up in a moment. Then you've got Schaff, who we've just seen avoid the biggest accident in the world. Mepherson, who he avoided, has managed to catch up to the back of him, so showing good pace in the Honda despite that accident. Johnsy has just done the fastest lap of the race out in the lead. The Welshman doing very well so far. Being Welsh myself, I will point that fact out as many times as physically possible. There aren't many of us in this GT racing nonsense. And then you've got Gray Morris in the 111 McLaren. He is currently in 7th position, and again, they're all really closely packed together. Reed has just managed to get past Davis, so let's just have a quick look at the replay and see how he made that happen. So he's just got up the inside into the first right-hander, and then placed the car basically in a position where Davis could not defend, and off he went. So a nice little move there. Tonks still in 12th, putting pressure on Fairwater to try and get Fairweather, sorry, to try and get up into 11th position. Balseely struggling to hold on to the back of Beerhouse in front, and it looks like he just hasn't got the pace at the moment, which is a shame, because Scott drove really well last season, as we alluded to earlier. Prescott is currently in 15th and chasing down Davis, and you've got Humphries in 16th. He's made 2 positions up from the start. He'll very much be set up for a good race pace rather than qualifying. Rickard then, one of our newcomers, in 17th. Stevens in 18th. Weaver's 19th. Green 20th. And Tasker in 21st. So Johnson's still out in front. He's holding his nerve quite well at the moment, boys, isn't he?
Well, he is. He's doing very, very well out there. Oh, sorry, what was that?
Yeah, no, I mean, he is, first time he's been leading the race. He showed pace at Spa, didn't he, Aaron? But Spa just seemed to catch everybody out, really, didn't it? But he was sort of mid-pack, really. But he showed pace at times, but not this kind of pace, that's for sure.
Oh, definitely. Good to see someone different out front. But good to see that he's not necessarily walking away with it. The top 3 relatively close together, so still anyone's race, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And Foster back on the pace. Perhaps he's got his head around the Porsche now, and which obviously is helping him. And he's always super close here. We could see a move going into the braking zone. He couldn't be any closer if he tried. Are we going to see a move into gear? No, he thinks better of it, thinks sensible, waits for his opportunity, which he didn't see there. I thought we might have seen a move there, but he thinks better of it and decides to live another day rather than cause an accident with a big move. Interestingly, gentlemen, Wes Beekhouse has currently got the fastest lap of the race. He's currently down in 8th. Lost a few positions off the start, but currently setting the fastest. Oh, Johnson's just retaking the fastest lap, but Wes clearly got the pace. Just as I said it, Johnsy took it back, but he's clearly got the pace to fight back through this field and get towards the front.
Yeah, definitely. Looking at this battle, it stems all the way up to Ash Humphries in 4th, so he just needs to keep his head on, pick the guys off one by one. I'm sure he probably has the pace to get onto the back of Ash and maybe even overtake him. Yeah,
I think here's a question for you then, boys. If you had the pace to get Foster in 3rd, which I'm not saying he has, but would you, or would you stay 4th and avoid the reverse grid?
Well, we see how that paid off last week. Oh, well, it wasn't purposeful, but it paid off last week. Not last week, but
I mean, we caught up with Ash after the race. I mean, to be fair, not that we accused him, but we suspected there may be some foul play, but it turns out he just ran out of fuel. And if he didn't back off, he wasn't going to make the end of the race at all. So, apologies for that. We're not trying to call people out for stuff they haven't actually done. But speaking of Humphries, he has dropped back now. He's 2 seconds off the back of Adam Foster, so the front 3 showing a fair bit more pace and fairly dropping back a little bit as well from Johnsy. I think under pressure from Foster, he's driving a bit more defensive than he'd like and able to attack Johnsy while he's defending from Foster, which in his defence is a really tricky thing to do, isn't it, Aaron, where you're trying to attack and defend at the same time.
Yeah, I can vouch for that one last night. You feel like you've got eyes in every part of your head, but sometimes the best form of defence is attack. So I think maybe it's the best thing that Fairley can do is try and get his head down and push for Johnsy. That might just pull him away a little bit from Adam.
Yeah, the problem is you do get in your own head, don't you, Doug? And you do think about these things, and you check in the mirrors and you check in the timing difference. Even when you're telling yourself, don't look, you do.
You can always become like obsessed or distracted by it, I suppose. And you distract yourself so much, you can then lead into mistakes, which opens up for the move. Yeah,
I've just noticed Wes Beekhouse has got past Morris, so let's just take a look back and see how he made that happen. So he's just gone through the left-hander down towards the straight, so he's right in the slipstream. Pulls to the inside, ready for the hairpin, and pretty straightforward. And just like we said earlier, really, wasn't it, Aaron? It's, heavy braking zones. That's where you're going to get the move done.
Yeah, textbook stuff. One thing I have noticed where Wes got that move done is a lot of the drivers, especially the top three, are taking a really wide line and running onto the green strip as wide as they dare to open up the corner.
Yeah.
Just interesting seeing that those guys a little bit further down weren't quite as greedy with how much green road they took, and I wonder if, you know, that could be the difference between a couple of tenths and the difference between finishing 12 seconds off the lead compared to 5.
Yeah, absolutely. It could be, you know, it's those fine margins. We just got another overtake here, and one of our newcomers has just run a little bit wide there, Rickard, and Fairweather says, cheers mate, and goes up the inside. So not a usual overtaking spot, but he certainly took advantage of that one, didn't he, Doug?
If you can make it work, why not?
Yeah, absolutely. And I just noticed that Rickard has now got past him on track, so all that hard work was undone, because Rickard's now got past him and back up into 15th. But it was entertaining nonetheless, so thank you for the overtakes, gentlemen. And that's exactly what we're here for. So Foster proper close now, and Fairley is, you know, we've said it, I think he is driving within himself. He is driving defensively to protect from Foster, our defending champion from season 1, and yeah, he's losing more and more ground to Johnsy, and Johnsy just got to keep his cool. Sorry,
You noticed Bartonks? Oh, no.
Yeah, we both noticed it, Luke.
yeah. What was it? Oh, he has
Drive through for Bartonks.
Jesus Lord, come on, Bart. That's enough now,
guy.
Bart. There's like the 4th race in a row. Come on. Stick the grey bit in the middle of the white bit. That's see the lines on the edge there? Yeah, you want to stay within those. I am joking, of course, Bart, but I do. Yeah, I don't know what to say.
We digress.
Yeah, you know, we joked about it. I was hoping it wouldn't actually happen, but yeah, I am sorry, my friend, and best of luck. Hopefully you can fight back in the next one. Wes Beekhouse has managed to make it up to 6 ahead of Mefson. So let's take a look at that replay and see how Wes gets this done. So where are they currently? They are just making it through the first part of the circuit, the first couple of corners. Oh, Mefson just runs wide, loses traction, and Beekhouse says, cheers fella, nice one, I'll see you next time. Auf Wiedersehen, have a good day. I don't know why he's speaking German, but he is. He's Dutch, not German, but you know. But there you go.
This is exactly what we were talking about, though, with picking guys off one by one. This is all he needs to do. Let the others in front make the mistake, and he'll easily work his way up to 4th, as he's quite willingly showing the viewers.
Yeah, and Schaaf has got past Humphreys as well. So again, let's see if we can pick that one up. Yeah.
I tell you what, as you flick to that replay there, Mike, Wes was all over the back of Ash as well, so I wonder if we'll see him move into 1 and 2.
I can tell you that you're not. Wes will be in the next replay action, but unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's good news for Wes.
Oh dear.
So we'll take a look back at that now in a moment. But yeah, great driving by Schaaf, who again, it's great to see these drivers having plenty of pace. So again, let's take a look at the replay. I'm going to go back 60 seconds so we can see what happens to Beekhouse. So as you say, he's proper on the back of Schaaf and Humphreys. And back in 4th position, as you do. And then, at some point, he isn't again. Oh, right.
Oh, wow.
So you just got it a bit wrong. Lost out to Mefferson. Oh, okay. I thought it was going to be a bit more dramatic than that, because we went from sort of battling to losing the position. But yeah, just opportunistic there from Mefferson, and fair play to the Honda driver. He made it work.
Yeah, good racecraft. That's what we like to see. Taking your opportunities, but taking them cleanly.
Yeah, absolutely. Humphreys has now dropped below Mefferson as well. I've just noticed in the live action, which we won't be able to see, unfortunately. But yeah, Mefferson has made his way past Humphries now. Humphries dropping back all of a sudden. He's gone from really challenging that top 3 to a bit nowhere. Perhaps Dougie's overcooked his tyres in the initial part of the race, maybe when he was showing that good pace. Could be he's overdone it.
Potentially, yeah, it's just cost him now at this stage in the race, I suppose. Who knows? Might be it. Yeah, and probably he's just pushed it slightly too hard and just cut the tyres, as you said, probably.
Yeah, it could well be. Ricard is in the pits, so he's had a big accident. Looking at the state of the front of that. Quick word for Damien Humphries, who's managed to make his way from 19th up to 14th. So he's keeping his nose clean and doing quite well so far. Some moves ahead of him. Maybe he can get involved in that. Fairweather just squeezing his way past Davis and up into 12th. Oh, Humphries going over the big sausage curbs in the background there. That's not going to do his tyres or suspension any favours. But Humphries looking to get up the inside of Davis. He does. Oh, Davis a little late. Oh, he turned in a little late there, and Humphries again is the victim of an accident. So let us just jump on with Davis and see what that looked like from his point of view. Not interior, I wanted, not driver. There's no good looking in the driver's eyes, is it? So, I mean, he knows Humphries is there on the inside, you would think. Yeah, he just turns in on him as if he's not there. He must not have known he was there. Perhaps he's not using spotter or doesn't have triple screens to be able to see every which way. But, yeah, he clearly didn't know he was there. I don't think otherwise he wouldn't have turned in, would he?
No,
Yeah,
exactly.
you would hope not. Yeah.
Yeah, one of those things. But yeah, shame. But there we go. It happens. So Foster still being frustrated by Fairley. Aaron, what would you do in this situation? Is it worth just backing off, preserving your tyres, hoping to catch him towards the end of the race? I mean, we're not even at the halfway point yet. Or do you just keep going for it? I mean, what's your school of thought, Aaron?
Well, it would depend on how much I'm pushing. If I'm pushing to the limit and I'm not getting anywhere close to the back of Fairley, I'll probably try something different, like you said, and I'd back off. Maybe save my tyres, because I'm not going to overtake him on raw pace. But we don't know how Adam's driving. Adam could be holding a little bit back with all this in mind, that he probably has a little bit of an edge, but he might not just want to completely overtake yet, because like you say, we're not even halfway through. We don't know what else is to come. There's no point risking it if he doesn't have to.
Yeah, no, very true. And you know, like you said, we don't know. You know, we're working on assumptions that he's pushing because he's right up his you know what. But you know, it could well be that he's actually driving at 90% right now, and you know, as soon as Fairley's tyres start to drop off, he'll put even more pressure on. Yeah, we don't know. Johnsy's just started to creep in a couple of little mistakes, because Fairley's got that gap down now from just under 2 seconds to just over 1 second. So these two both now coming back at Johnsy. So again, could be tyre management, could be that they got their pressures right or wrong, or it could just be driver error and making the odd mistake. But the Welshman currently still out in first position. Oh, very, very wide there, and completely on the green stuff. I know you said they were going wide there, but that's a little wider than I think he would want to have gone. He might well have had a little ping for that one.
It's interesting though, Mike, because that seems to be the line that they've took all race, or very close to that line anyway. So I wonder if they're getting away with it.
Yeah, I mean, the track limits on this is much more realistic, much more, I can relate it to F1, where you can push the limits of the track. And as I've said before, you only actually get pinned if you exceed the track limits in certain places and gain time from it. So it is quite clever in that respect. But here we are seeing Kane Johnsy, the Welshman, is still out in first place, but that gap is under a second now. So mistakes are starting to creep in, the pressure just starting to get to him just as we come towards the halfway point. And Fairley has managed to pull a bit away from Foster as well. So I think a lot of that might just, Fairley's done the fastest lap. I was about to say, Dougie, that it might just be Fairley's found his groove and he does the fastest lap as I was about to say that. So clearly he's found some pace.
And clearly you can predict the future, but yeah. He's clearly found his pace, and he might be able to build that gap between him and Foster now, and try and, as we said before, put that pressure on Jonesy instead, or Jonesy.
I mean, I've got many skills, but I was not aware that predicting the future was one of them.
Well, you predicted two things. You predicted a drive-through for Bart Tonks, and now you predicted that. So who knows? I'm
going to change my name to Mystic Mike. Done.
Better go Magic Mike.
Oh, I definitely haven't got those skills. That's for damn sure. Ain't nobody buying what I'm selling if that's the case. Anyway, back to the action. And Schaff, having a very good drive, was mid-pack at Spa last week, but the German driver is currently in 4th position and driving really well. 7 seconds off the podium places, but he won't mind that because of where he is. He will be in prime position to have a good qualifying for race 2, whereas the top 3 will start at the back regardless. Meffison's still in 5th. He seems to have settled down now after those couple of errors that we saw from him, and he's doing well in 5th position. Humphries seems to have settled back down as well, and Bierkhaus behind him. They all seem to have just holding station really and unable to have much of a pace advantage over the cars around them. Morris, race winner at the last short sprint, the reverse grid one, is currently in 8th and doing another very good job. Only 14 seconds off the lead at the moment, just over the halfway point. And we've got Bastian Brunner, one of our new drivers. The Austrian is currently in 9th in the number 66 Aston Martin. Lloyd Reed, who qualified well in the McRae, as it shall now be known. Cheers for pointing that out, Aaron. And the McRae is currently in 10th, and he qualified well, but a couple of issues at the start, but he's fought his way back up to 10th, so plenty of points still on the table for him, and he's not too far from the cars in front as well if he can find some pace in this second phase of the race. Scott Balseeley in 11th, stuck a little bit in no man's land really, as is Fairweather in the 323 fellow BMW. Davis and Stevens have just exchanged positions, so and they're about to again. I think Stevens is on the inside now for the hairpin, and Davis has just had an accident here, and he has learned his lesson, and this time gave plenty of room. Just going into the what's it called? I can't get my words out today. Into the YouTube chat, sorry. And I just noticed Devilfish, who's missing this week, is watching. So hello, Dom Ingle, Devilfish Racing, and he said there was plenty of room on the inside still. So that must be referring to the Davis Humphries incident that we saw earlier on. But good little ding dong between the Ferrari and the Porsche. There, so Humphries has just got himself up ahead of Weavers. Let's take a look back.
Yeah,
see if
I think Weavers made a little mistake into the gravel, Mike. Yeah,
he did. Good call, and that is what happened there. So
I'm surprised we've not seen more of that. The guys have been pretty consistent tonight. To be fair to them, they've all kept it on the black stuff, apart from at the start, as we saw with a couple of guys.
Yeah, it's been pretty clean and straight, as you say. There's not been much in terms of accidents and going off. We just had that one incident really in terms of accidents, haven't we? And yeah, there hasn't been a lot of people flying off the track, and it is a tricky one, particularly the first sector where that can happen, and it certainly happened to me around here plenty of times. So yeah, good to see some consistency, as you say. But yeah, we've got 16 minutes left of this race one, so still plenty of time for things to change. But most of them holding station. What do you think? You probably would have expected to see a bit more overtaking here, Dougie, compared to what we've seen.
I think so, yeah. Especially on sprint race format, I think I would have expected slightly more overtakes, but it's still been very entertaining. It's been, as we said, it's been good to see some consistency and people keeping it clean, so we can't complain.
Well, Wes Bierkhaus has just gone back a good few positions, so we'll just jump on. He's battling with Humphries for 6th, as you can see on the replay. at the moment in 7th place. Oh,
Oh,
just
just
spun
caught-
it there. Oh, that's a very
It was-
unusual place to lose the back end.
He unsettled the car, Mike, going over the apex over
Ah,
the curb.
right,
It
okay.
bounced.
I didn't see that part, so thank you for that, Aaron. That's why you're here, mate. And yeah, no, that's why you're here for this.
Not just a pretty face.
Not just a pretty face, indeed. But yeah, no, I missed that, to be fair. And yeah, I was going to say it is a very unusual place to lose the back end, so that explains it. If he's just got a bit of a squibble on the curb, then yeah, that is going to unsettle it and send him spinning round and round. So a couple of battles we'll keep an eye on here. Davis on Prescott for 13th position. This one for 7th, which is Morris and Brunner. Brunner having a very solid debut so far in that Aston Martin. And Mefferson is battling Scharf for 4th. And they're still pretty much stationed at the top. Johnsy ahead by a second. And
Oh, Shaft with a drive-through, Mike.
oh, he's just taken too many liberties on the track limits. And ironically, just after the pit exit as well, so he has to do another lap before he can take it. But he's got to take it within 3 laps. But oh, that'll ruin him. So that, I mean, as we heard Alan Davis talking as we were interviewing him before the race, the pit lane here is not spar bad, but pretty bad. So you do lose nearly 40 seconds. So that, if I can just predict, is going to put Scharf around about 12th or 13th place. So that's a huge loss. Huge.
He's been absolutely shafted.
Well, don't give up your day job, Doug. That's all I'll say. Oh, brilliant stuff.
Full-time commentator, part-time comedian.
Oh God.
Catch Dougie live in the Comedy Club, 8 till 9, both Saturday nights.
I think it's more likely to be a Tuesday at 3 p.m. The graveyard shift.
We have a laugh, don't we?
We do have a laugh, we do. So 30 minutes left as it stands. Foster and still pushing for that second podium position. Still in 3rd at the moment. Brunner still pushing Morris here for 7th, and Davis still pushing Prescott for 13th. Those are the closest battles we've got on the track at the moment. So you can see the gaps there. And the gaps to the leader. Scharf has gone into the pits to serve his drive-through. So again, I'm estimating he's going to come out around about where Fairweather is, between Fairweather and Prescott, but hopefully for his sake, maybe even a little bit further forward. But we're still watching Brunner now try and attack Morris, try and get that position from the McLaren and get himself up into 6th. Yeah, great debut from Brunner, the Austrian. He's looked pretty solid in an Aston Martin that isn't the most popular car on the grid and not the easiest one to drive, is it, Aaron? So I'm going to interrupt myself there, sorry, and just say the Scharf has just given himself a 30-second stop-go penalty for speeding in the pit lane while going in to serve his drive-through penalty.
It never rains in pause.
So he sped on the way in and hasn't hit the pit limiter in time for the speed limit and cost himself. So just wanted to point out that he now has to go into the pits, stop in his pit box for 30 seconds and then go. That's going to cost him about 90 seconds altogether and pretty much put him in last place. So anyway, Aaron, Brunner, good debut.
Yeah, very good. Just as I was about to say before we got that news flash there, he's been a bit more aggressive on the curbs than Morris, and he seems to make up a lot of his time in the latter part of Sector 1 and the earlier parts of Sector 2, if you like. It's only here on the straights where Morris seems to pull away a little bit in the last sector.
That'll be what you just described in there, just to give it some context, is mostly due to car characteristics. The front wheel drive cars on this game can handle the curbs a lot better. So when you're talking the Aston, you've got the Lexus, the Bentley, Yeah, the BMW, they all handle the curbs a lot better. The mid-engine cars can't handle the curbs. Hello?
Hello? Yep, you're back.
Oh, there was a massive bang then in my ears. It sounded...
You disappeared for literally 2 seconds there.
Oh, okay. So there must have been an internet broadbanding's problems. But yeah, it just...
But no, like you were saying, yeah, with the characteristics of the cars, we know the front engine guys
Yeah.
can take more curve, don't we?
Yeah, and sorry, my old system just went bang in my ears, but I didn't lose any visuals, just sound for a second. So anyway, hopefully that hasn't affected the stream for you guys too much. But yeah, so that's why you're going to have... but that's great, because you've got, as you say, you know, the McLaren that's quicker down the straights, Dougie, and then you've got cars like the Aston that can push it on the curbs a bit more. So the cars have got different characteristics and can battle each other in different ways.
Yeah, and that's what adds to the racing, makes it interesting, because as you said, just then, each car's got its own strength, it's got its weaknesses, as we've seen with Foster in previous weeks. The tracks just hasn't suited the Porsche, whereas now it's coming into the tracks where it does suit the Porsche.
Yep, and Brunner has forced Morris into a mistake into the last corner there and got the move done down the main straight. And oh, they both lost it! Oh, they both lost it. And I think Brunner managed to come out of that okay. Morris not so much. Let's take a look at the replay and see what that looked like.
So you couldn't have picked a better camera angle for that, by the way.
Yeah, it was pretty good, wasn't it? So
that was very cinematic.
let's have a look at the helicam. So they're both going into the braking zone. Oh, there is contact. Yeah, there is contact. I wondered whether there was contact. Morris desperately trying to get the position back. And yeah, he makes contact, but luckily the guy he hit, Brunner, didn't lose any positions or lose much time, so at least I suppose he hasn't got that guilt that usually comes with it, Aaron, where you cost yourself and the person you've hit time and damage, etc.
Yeah, I was going to ask you both there. I'll get both of your opinions on this. Whose corner was that? Was that Morris's or was that Brunner's?
Yeah, Dougie, I don't know if you want to take that one.
50-50, I think.
For me, Brunner was well ahead. And that was a late lunge at best. Possibly a racing incident, but I would call that... If that was F1, you'd be getting a 5-second penalty, let's put it that way. That's my personal opinion.
Has Shaft got another 30-second stop go because he's been in the pits and he's back in?
Yeah, I think he sped through the pit lane twice.
Oh!
So it's basically game over for him. He might as well park it up now and just get ready for race 2, because it's basically game over. Yeah, I think Bart Tonks has found somebody to challenge him for the most unluckiest driver on the grids. Right, anyway, we've got 7 minutes left, and John Z is still out in front. He's about to lap the Porsche of one of our newcomers, Mr. Ricard, so he's done that. Through he goes up into first. Fairly now 3.5 seconds back from John Z. Still got the fastest lap to his name though. But Foster again still in third, unable to challenge. And these three who've been the quickest drivers by a reasonable margin, 15 seconds ahead of the next bunch, will all start at the back of the grid, providing they finish this way. Curse of the commentator, one of them is bound not to now. Mefson has made his way up into fourth. Great drive from the Honda. Best of the rest, if you like, outside the podium. Ash Humphreys in fifth. Brunner, as we said, in sixth. Big House, who's been... Reed in seventh in the McRae. Big House, who's been in the wars, he's been up to 5th, down to 10th, I think, back up to 7th, down to 8th. He's been all over the place. He's been pretty much every position on the field today, but he's got himself in 8th position at the moment. Morris, as I said, a race winner in the last short sprint race, finds himself in 9th place, and Balseely completes our top 10 at the moment. So pretty much as it was. And Humphreys has managed to make his way back up to 12th, but he's got a very quick Ferrari right up his chuff and looking to make a move. He will be hoping into the first corner. So, any surprises, gentlemen, for you so far in this race? Aaron, if you go first.
I suppose my surprise would probably be that Adam Foster's not quite managed to get past Fairley. I was surprised with Lloyd Reed with his start. I thought he could have been one of the other guys who could have challenged maybe he's for the top 4, top 5. Big surprise from Methison, actually. We'll go with Methison for the biggest surprise. Really held his own in that Honda. Saw him struggle a little bit getting past, but opened up the gap now and looks very comfortable in 4th.
Yeah, Doug?
My surprise would be Johnsy, to be fair, because obviously it's all great qualifying him first, but did he qualify first? He didn't, or was it Fairley?
It was Johnsy. Johnsy got
Yeah,
Was it
pole
Johnsy?
for his
yeah,
debut.
he did, yeah. He took,
There you go. So
took pole, yeah.
that's fine. So it's one thing taking pole, but keeping it, I think, is even harder. So I think that would be my surprise, because it's a surprise he took pole, and then the fact he's kept it up to now. I think that's quite a surprise for me.
Yeah, I know we've said it, but again, just to reiterate, it's great to see these two guys, battling Foster at the front, and it's not just Foster versus Bierkaus versus Galanos as it was last season. We got new drivers up there, and that shows the development of the league, which is great to see. But Scharf has parked it now, because after he served his second 30-second stop go penalty, he got another drive-through. So he's just parked it in the pits now. I got to be honest, I don't blame him. Pit stops are clearly not this man's thing. But such a shame, because he was running so strong, wasn't he? What was he in 4th? Was he at the time battling? Battling for 5th, I think, wasn't he? And no, he was in 4th, wasn't he? Yeah. And yeah, he was such a shame, because he was having a really, really good race. But hopefully he'll come back strong in the shorter sprint that we've got coming up for you very shortly. I mean, on that point, Aaron, that you brought up about Lloyd Reed, do you think he'd be in prime position to qualify well and do well in this second sprint race?
Yeah, I think he'll probably try and maximise that the most. I mean, if we're seeing him in 7th and holding his own there, who's to say that if he can hook it all together, he doesn't qualify on pole? And we know he's got pace in that McLaren. We've seen it. Yeah, he could be a strong contender, but then again, we can't rule out someone like Methison, who's had a very solid 4th place, and will probably be one of the other guys looking to go strong in race 2.
Yeah, I mean, don't forget Methison took pole in the wet in the opening race of the season. He also, until he had an Eau Rouge moment, as many did last week, was pretty strong around Spa as well. So he's had pace, and as I said, he's been bumped up from AM class to Pro class. So he's got pace in that Honda. But I mean, I would very much love to see an NSX win this, but that may well not happen. But yeah, interesting.
It's gone bang again.
It has gone bang again.
Did you hear that bang?
Yeah.
It sounded like static, Mike, like when you used to sort of leave the telly on for white noise back in the day.
To me, it sounds like a gunshot, literally like a gunshot. It's really weird. So sorry, folks, we're not sure what is happening. I'm assuming it's one of the cars backfiring in the game, but as the sound, as the sound stops, the backfire is all you can hear, so it's really loud. But yeah, I don't quite know what's happening, folks, so apologies for that if you can hear it on the stream. It's quite loud in my ear, and I'll be honest, I jumped just a little bit. Whatever it is.
Hey, you guys.
Oh, and
have we?
Sorry,
have we got?
Foster?
Go on, Mike.
No, I was just going to say Foster did get past Fairley, but Fairley's back past Foster, but Foster is alongside now, going down towards the hairpin. Has he got enough bravery on the brakes? Fairley just stays ahead. I'm just going to take a look at the replay and see if we can see the moment that Foster did get ahead. And he dove it up the inside. Oh, desperation took hold. He thought he'd have a go, and then he just had to fall back in. Then follows him down the straight. tries to have another go into the hairpin, and as we saw, well defended by the McLaren, placed the car just where it needed to be, and he knows he can trust Foster not to do anything too silly, and
Leaders on final lap now.
make their way through it. So I've just been informed. Oh, Foster's got a drive-through.
Oh no!
Foster's got a drive-through. He's pushed track limits too much, and that is going to cost him a podium. Oh, he must be devastated. Absolutely gutted. Pushing so hard for second place that he's gone and cost himself a podium. And Mefferson now will be up into the podium positions, assuming he finishes where he is, and starting at the back. So, I mean, the one saving grace for Foster is he can qualify again for the next race and try and start at the front. But, oh my God, what a time to get a drive-through heading into the last lap. That's so painful, trundling through the pit lane at 45 miles an hour. Absolutely.
It's a shame.
Gutting.
It's a shame.
It is. And
I'm just going to say, so unlucky that the time has come where it has, because if it was maybe, it's like, if the guys were 10 seconds further back, he might have crossed the line doing the drive-through,
yeah,
which would have saved him, but it's definitely not, has it?
No. And yeah, he's coming out in 9th position. So he's right behind Morris, so he might nick a position. But we are on the final lap, and Johnsy is making his way around. Excuse me. And he is...
Do we have any contenders for driver of the day?
We do. Yeah. I'll probably need to have a think about that. You've caught me off guard.
I'll tell you, it's okay. We'll decide after the race is finished. I'll let you talk through Johnson's final lap.
Yeah, so here he is, just coming up to the final few corners, and yeah, I can see the driver's eyes. Not really, it's an avatar. But as he comes across the line, the Welshman takes
The leader has finished the race.
his first victory in final drive sim racing, and a fantastic win for the McLaren of King Johnsy. First place, and a fantastically fought second place for Andrew Fairley. Mefferson is going to come home in third place in the Honda. Ash Humphreys in fourth in the number 44 McLaren. Brunner in fifth, a great debut drive there from the Austrian. Lloyd Reed got himself back into sixth in the end. A bit of luck came with that in the Maserati, but he gets himself up into sixth. Because seventh, Foster does get eighth in the end. Morris ninth, Balsili will come home in 10th. Fairweather in 11th, Humphreys 12th, Davis 13th, Tonks 14th, Prescott 15th. We haven't really covered Prescott. He's been a bit anonymous in this race, but he comes home in 15th. Weavers in 16th. Stevens 17th. Rickard 18th on his debut. Green 19th. Tasker 20th. And Schaaf, the most unluckiest man on earth, in 21st position. Okay, as soon as you posed the question, Aaron, I'm going to give you the opportunity to go first on naming your driver of the race for race 1.
Driver of the race for race 1 for me goes to Johnsy. Didn't put a foot wrong. Debut race, qualified on pole, gets the win. Very solid drive, pulled away from Fairley and Foster. So yeah, driver of the day for me, Johnsy.
Okay, Dougs?
I have two contenders who have been debating in my head. My first contender was Johnsy, just as Aaron said. Didn't put a foot wrong, just drove consistently and took the win. And my other one was going to be Brunner for his debut race. He did very, very well to get a fifth.
Green light, green light.
Oh,
Go, go,
fourth,
go.
in fact, sorry. Is it fourth or was it fifth? I think it was fifth. I'm sure it was fifth. I think it was fifth.
Yeah, I think it was fifth in the end, yes.
I think for a debut running a brand new league like that, it's
Yes.
very good to get a fifth.
It
so.
was fifth because Ash Humphreys was fourth. So
Yeah.
just to explain, guys, sorry, they have gone out. Those that can qualify are now out trying to qualify for this second shorter sprint race. So they've got 5 minutes basically just to get out there and try and get a lap in. Not an easy thing to do. This man, Johnsy, will not be allowed to qualify. Mefferson, who finished third, will not be allowed to qualify. Fairley, who finished second, will not be allowed to qualify. All the others can qualify. Not to say they will. They may not set a time. It's not easy when you're under that much pressure with not a lot of time to set a lap to get it done. Okay, so while we are waiting for the drivers to get their tyres hot and get around to the start-finish line to start their flying laps, who's my driver? Well, I was going to go for Brunner or Johnsy. My gut is Johnsy, just because at Spa he was sort of mid-pack. You know, wasn't expecting this from him. To put it on pole and see it through, quite impressive and good to see. So I'm going to go with my fellow Welshman in Johnsy for mine. Aaron, you said Johnsy, so Dougie, you're going to break the cycle and stick with Brenner, or you're going to go Johnsy?
I'll go Johnsy.
Okay, there we are. We've got a Johnsy. I'll write that down so we don't forget it, because they get a point for that. So we are responsible for giving out points. So important that we keep a note of these things. So okay, we've got just under 3 minutes. These guys, most of them haven't even started a lap yet. Some have. So who's your predictions for pole position then, gentlemen? Dougie, who are you going for?
I'll go with Ash actually, because I think he's shown good consistency in the last race, and I think almost his second race brings. I think he really gets into it. I suppose finds a good rhythm, and I suppose warms up a bit in the first race.
Okay, pole position for you, Aaron, for this next one.
I was going to say Mefferson, but he's still in the pits, so
That's
I would
because
not say
he finished
Mefferson,
third in the
and-
end, didn't he? So he's not allowed to
Oh,
qualify.
of course, yeah. Absolutely, you are correct. Well, in that case, then, let's have a look. I'm going to go for Schaff.
Okay. I think it's either going to be Foster, who will desperately want to be on pole after that.
Oh yeah, but
disastrous-
Foster actually.
Yeah, that disastrous last lap. I think it's either going to be Foster or someone's going to surprise us, like Tonks, or someone is just suddenly going to pull a lap out. So we shall see momentarily. So I just got the times up on the screen for you guys, so you can see those alongside the action. And Foster sets the first one, which is a 35.2. That's not going to be good enough. They were in the low 34s in the first qualifying session, but he is still the quickest at the moment. Oh no, that wasn't Foster, that was Rickard, sorry. My eyes deceived me then, sorry. Yeah, so Rickard with 35.2 at the moment. So Foster still on a flying lap. So his first lap must have been cancelled, and his lap time removed for track limit abuse, I would imagine, because it looked like he was on it. So Reed in the McRae is currently top with a 35.2, just ahead of Rickard. Schaff goes into third, and if Foster can set a lap time, he's definitely capable of a mid 34, so he'll be definitely looking towards that pole position. Tonks is on a lap as well. He's just coming towards the end of that, just the last corner to go. Let's see what he can do. And Tonks does go into pole position
Wow.
with a 35.1. So Foster definitely capable of beating that. The clock has run down, so those on a lap can complete it. Foster, he's crossed the finish line. He only manages 6th. Oh, and we saw him make a couple of mistakes on that lap, and that's cost him. So So,
Humphreys comes in P6, I think we could see Foster fall down a little bit further here.
so Reed is on a lap. He's got time to complete it. He's just got a couple of corners to go. So here he goes. According to the timing screen, he's 3/10 up. This will put him on pole if he can do it. And he does.
And he
Reed
does.
is on pole with a 34.9. Wow, great lap.
Good lap.
And, oh,
Oh,
Shaft!
Shaft on pole position, my prediction.
And what a lap there from Shaft, and he needed that. He didn't have any luck at all in that first race, and he gets himself up into pole position. And well, some great action there at the end. Sorry we didn't get a chance to see Shaft. I didn't realise Shaft was still on a lap, which was my mistake. Bartonk's still on a lap according to this. Oh, he might still be a player.
Just say cross the line.
Oh, if he gets this last corner right. Oh, he's up. He could still take it. No, he didn't improve enough. Didn't improve enough, but third, I'm sure he'll still be happy with that. But yeah, there we go. That's your classification. So I believe the admin now will place the top 3 guys at the back, regardless of the other guys not qualifying. So I'm told that is what is going to happen. But yeah, that was that. So yeah, good fun that. Good bit of action there. And that's the type I like those short, sharp, sort of 5-minute qualifying sessions. They're good fun, aren't they?
Yeah. I was gonna talk some nonsense here, Mike. You know, just on the background of Shaft being one of the unluckiest guys we've ever witnessed race in our GT League. I was gonna take people's minds back to the 1980s when a guy called Hans Heyer tried to qualify for the Hockenheim Grand Prix in Formula One. Very good touring car driver, renowned in DTM. He failed to qualify, but thought, screw that, I'm going to drive anyway on the Sunday. So he failed to qualify, didn't make pre-qualifying, still went out on track on the Sunday. No one seemed to notice that he'd gone on track, and he got disqualified for a race that he technically never started for.
Well, I didn't know that.
So just remember, you can always be more unlucky.
Yep.
You could be Hans Heyer.
Where do you store all of this information, and how do you store it?
It's in a very strange and dark place in my brain.
Oh wow. Yeah, I didn't know that bit of trivia. I mean, I've heard the Tiff Nadell stories of trying to qualify for Spa and then not being allowed to qualify for Monaco and stuff. But yeah, that's a good one. I like that. That's good. So we are 1:20 till lights out, but that will just be for the formation lap. So while we got a couple of minutes spare, we'll just have a listen to a new driver who's joined us. This is his debut race with us tonight, Lewis Reed. So I caught up with him before. Again, there will only be audio from Lewis because I forgot to unmute my microphone. So these are the answers to some of the questions that I asked Lewis Ricard before the race.
It's going good. I decided to make a last minute call of switching to the Porsche from the Audi because I just found the Audi is not a fun car to drive. It's too stable, and whenever it does get an oversteer snap, you can't save it. So I decided just to switch to the Porsche, have a lot of fun driving the car, and maybe once I do build up a bit of more confidence, I can probably get a bit further in that car than I could in the Audi. I played iRacing a lot until I went broke, and I saw ACC on sale for PC. I played it a lot on Xbox. I decided to go to PC, and it's like a completely different game. It's just so much better on PC than it is on console. I'll be in the 96 Dunkin' Donut Porsche. Well, originally it was going to be Pro in the Audi, but I might end up having to drop down to amateur in the Porsche because I've just so lately switched to it. I've still not gone back to the old lap times I was doing in the Audi.
So yeah, a new driver, and welcome. We love seeing and hearing new drivers in this league, and great to catch up with him. Lovely chat. Sorry again, you couldn't hear the actual questions I was asking him, but yeah, interesting. And I want to applaud, if I can, Aaron, his bravery in, not sticking with the Audi that would have been a safe bet that probably would have got him some good positions, and going with a car that he can't really drive that well now, but he knows he'll be faster in the future. Yeah, I just wanted to applaud that. I don't know your thoughts.
No, I completely agree. Certainly admire a man who's willing to take on a challenge. We've seen Adam drive the car pretty well. We've also seen the likes of Prescott really struggle in the Porsche, default back to the BMW. So I think he can. I think he can be proud with where he's positioned himself for this race and how he's handling it so far.
Yeah, I mean, he had a bit of trouble in the first race, but it was his debut race. That's to be expected. Qualified in fourth for this one, so that's decent going. Interesting, you and him comparing the PC experience to the console experience as well, wasn't it, Dougie? I mean, we've been there and made that transition ourselves, and it's interesting to hear other drivers confirm your thoughts almost.
Yeah, it's definitely not an easy transition, but it's one of them. It's a worthwhile process going through, because I suppose good PCs, a nicer side where it's just, as he said, it's just a totally different game, but it's far better in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. It's just more capable, really, isn't it? They can get the physics much more spot on, particularly particularly for ACC, which is in terms of physics the best, because it's only got one discipline to concentrate on, whereas games like iRacing and Race Room, of course, have got to try and get the physics right for 50 different types of car. This just concentrates on GTM, but that's why it's as good as it is, and such a good experience. But yeah, it's always interesting speaking to them and getting their thoughts on matters. But here we are. The drivers are just making their way around the last couple of corners now, ready to start race 2. It'll be a 20-minute sprint. And here we go. So we've got Schaaf versus Reed versus Tonks versus Rickard into the first corner. We are in helicam, as I like to do, just so we can get as much of a view as possible.
Go.
And Reed started out of position there. Schaaf was way out of position and has dropped loads of positions off the start there. You've got caught. Oh, a little bit of contact on the back. Oh, Humphries has been turned around. And
it's carnage.
It's carnage.
More contact. It's all happening. And yeah, that was not what we wanted to see. And
Big winner from that, Mike, is Adam Foster.
yeah, he's got himself all the way up into third, and now has a really good chance. Let's just see if we can see on the replay exactly what happened at the start there from Humphries' point of view. So we're just going to jump on to his rear wing and see if we can see a bit of this action, because that was everybody getting turned around left, right and centre there. Let's jump back into the helicam. Actually, we'll probably get more of a view. Humphrey seemed to come off the worst of that, I think, didn't he, boys? But terrible start by Schaaf. Yeah, he got he got hit by his brother. Oh, he's not going to be happy. And then the domino effect just started happening, and everybody was hitting everyone. It's such a shame, but there we go. Reed still ahead of Rickard, who's ahead of Foster. We're still watching the replay at the moment, and we're just waiting for the live action to kick back in. We are almost there.
I think Bart and Bastian gifted Foster third place there. They seem to bang each other off the road.
Yeah, so Reed crosses the line in first, Rickard in second, Foster in third, Bart Tonks is currently in fourth position. The sun is setting, so that will impact the runners as well, because tyre temperatures will be different as the track cools. So will they have their pressures correct for this second race? Oh, Tonks, a little mistake there. Foster battling hard with Rickard here. Porsche against Porsche. Foster just nips into the slipstream to give himself a bit of an advantage down the straight into the hairpin. He's going wide, as Aaron Markham pointed out earlier. That is his preferred line, and he's got a bit of a switchback. Oh, but he's on the power too fast, and he almost lost it there and loses a position. Just needs to settle down, I think, a bit, doesn't he, Aaron? He's a little bit too eager.
Yeah, just keep your head, Adam. You're in third. This is a good result. You know, punished last race because of the drive-through. Just get the points.
Yeah, so I mean, he's down to fourth now, actually, with that mistake. Sorry to correct you there, good sir, but yeah, he's actually in fourth at the moment. So where are the guys who finished well in race one? Fairley's already up to 8th, Mefferson 13th, and Johnsy in 15th at the moment. So Fairley doing really well, and I think we've had a recent overtake. Let's take a look at the replay and see. This is Fairley attacking Prescott down the back half of the circuit. Unbelievably close going into the braking zone then. I mean, and forces a mistake from Prescott. Cool as you like, up a position. Nice drive in from Fairley there to get himself up into 8th. Oh, and we've had Foster's got himself up into 2nd. Again, we'll look at the replay because I don't know what happened there, but there was lots of changing of positions. So you've got Tonks attacking Ricard, and Foster's right there as well. Schaff right behind them. This is a replay again, folks. We'll just take a look at here. So Tonks just Senna Prosts each other off the circuit there. Foster says thank you very much. Schaff and Bruno say thank you very much, and up they go. But yeah, that was they just sort of took each other out, just like I said, it was a bit sort of Senna Prost there, wasn't it, Doug?
Yeah, I bet Foster will be rubbing his hands together now. He's got his 2nd place. All he needs to do, as Aaron said, is just keep his head now and just stay calm and just take the points home.
Yeah, they just kind of couldn't get out of each other's way there, could they, Aaron?
No, not at all. Brunner benefited from that as well, up into 3rd place.
Yeah, driving really well. He made a lot of positions in that first race, and he's doing well in this one as well. Fairley now all the way down in 11th, so I think he's had another issue off the track, and he's lost a lot of positions. And he's now battling with the guy who beat him in the first race, Johnsy, who is just behind him. So the 1st, 2nd and 3rd from race 1 are 10th, 11th and 12th in the opposite order in this race so far. But early doors, we've still got 15 minutes of racing left. Brunner really putting the pressure on Foster now at the moment. Lloyd Reed is way out in front in the McRae, so he just needs to keep it nice and simple for the remainder of this race. Really, he's got a big enough gap to take a bit of margin off and take his time. So Foster under pressure. Fairley's got a past Mefferson, but Mefferson is fighting back. Mefferson just ahead now. Fairley tries to be late on the brakes. Wow. They're side by side going through the right-hander, and they're still door to door coming down the straight now. Mefferson will have a slight bit of toe yet. You can see that there as he had the McLaren in front of him to give him a toe. So Fairley drops back in behind and will look to make a move up the inside into the braking zone. Takes a tighter line. He almost makes contact. He just avoids the back end of Mefferson's Honda. And absolutely cracking racing from those two drivers. Brilliant stuff.
I wonder if Mefferson was just reacting to Prescott in front of him, because I think he might have broke a little bit earlier than he expected, which is obviously caught out fairly. Yeah,
it's a good shout, and to be fair, great driving from all of them. No contact made, and all's fair in Livermore. Ash Humphries has managed to get himself up past Prescott into 8th, and he's putting loads of pressure on Balsillie now. Has a little dart up the inside, but Balsillie covers that off. Balsillie goes a little wide, and Humphries had to back out of it then to avoid an accident. And this time Fairley has got past Mefferson.
Yeah, he just poked a nose after turn 2 as we were watching the Balseely battle there.
Gets it done.
Oh, it looks like Johnsy as well. Johnsy's got past a bit of a late lunge onto Fairley, I think. I don't know
Yeah.
if those two collected each other.
Just see it in the background. I don't think there was any contact, but Prescott, who's I mean, no offense, but is a slower driver than these guys around him, is just hanging on to the ones in front and just causing a few problems for the ones behind.
Ah, Johnsy through.
Yeah, Mefferson's way offline there in the background, and I'm not
Where's
quite.
Fairley?
Fairley's gone right down, so he's had an accident. So let's take a look at the replay, see if we can find out. So Fairley's battling with Prescott for position. Oh
Oh
Ooh.
no!
Just been lucky.
yeah, as I just said, Prescott a little bit out of position. His braking points and everything are going to be slightly different to those in front, and unfortunately it's just caught them out, and Fairley has lost out on that occasion. So Johnsy now pressuring Prescott for position, so I'm sure he's seen that and will be a little bit more cautious in the braking zone. Humphreys has just got up past Balseely in front, and he has a lot more pace, so I'm expecting him to stretch his legs a little bit now. Up to Big House in front. Rickard and Schaff are having a good old ding dong. Oh, Schaff runs wide, and that's allowed Rickard up the inside. And that was an invitation in an envelope with a stamp on it. Oh, but Schaff battles back. Great move up the inside there, wasn't it, Aaron?
Yeah, the Empire Strikes Back there. What a move! What a switchback!
Oh, I don't know about the stars, but it's definitely a war. Cracking bit of driving there, and Prescott's heading off. He's just dropped about 10 positions. So let's just take a look at the replay and see what has happened to Prescott. So he's having a battle with Johnsy. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah, he just lost the back end, tried to correct it, over-corrected, lost the back end again. And unfortunately for him, down he goes into the gravel trap and down the positions as well. Hard lines, my friend. It happens to the best of us. So, Reed pulling away from Foster. So Reed's got some great pace in this race. He's clearly got that setup nailed. And he's now 7.5 seconds ahead of Foster with less than 10 minutes left of this second sprint race now. Foster in second, still under pressure from Brunner, our debutant from Austria in the 66 Aston Martin. Schaff now solid in fourth. Now he's got up past Rickard. And Rickard on his debut weekend in his second race, obviously this second sprint race, doing a stellar job in fifth position, the driver we heard from just before the race. But it's not going to be long before he's under pressure from the Audi number 43 of our Dutchman Wes Beekhuis. And then we've got a bit of a gap then back to Ash Humphreys, who's been battling away. Was spun out on the first corner, ended up pretty much dead last, but has managed to fight his way back up to 7th position. So a stellar drive from him and some good points still. Johnsy started at the back, won the first race, and again he's showing great pace and has got himself up to 8th. And just shows the pace that Brunner's got. He's just on the fastest lap of the race, over halfway through, and still really pressuring Adam Foster for that second position. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on that battle as it progresses. So Johnsy catching Humphreys at the moment, and the Welshman doing a good job against Humphreys. And let's keep an eye on that and see if Ash has got what it takes to keep him behind. Scott Balseely in 9th. He'll be coming under pressure from Mefferson in the Honda pretty shortly by the looks of it. And oh, he's definitely got better traction out there. Now he'll have a great toe down this straight into the hairpin. Call it, Aaron. Are we going to see a move?
I don't think we're going to see a move. He's just not quite far enough alongside. I think he's going to try and position Scott though, so that he maybe has to go on the defensive and get a switch back. That seems to be working well for some of the guys.
Yeah, he didn't appear to have the straight line speed, really, did he, Doug?
No, not really. I think he's going to have to try and find good movers or to be able to set him up almost and do switchback or under braking.
It's a characteristic of the Honda. It's quite slow on the straights at times, and the balance of performance for that car at this track is particularly harsh. It chokes a lot of the top end. I know for a fact because I did a track guide on it the other day, and I thought, God, this is slow. I could barely get into 6th gear most of the time. So, but yeah, Johnsy has got past Humphreys, but Humphreys battling back. But Johnsy's made his way through and got a pass. Let's take a look at the replay and see what that looked like on board. So you can see Johnsy putting real pressure on Humphreys. Identical machinery, both in the McLaren. He's got a bit more confidence than Humphreys at this stage. Oh, Humphreys runs really wide. Yeah, you can see Humphreys was trying to keep himself ahead, and he just got it a bit wrong. Put too much loud pedal on, and away he went into. And now we're going to look at some trees on the side of the track for some reason. There we go. That's better. Let's look at some action. Bighouse put in some pressure on Rickard still, but no move as of yet. Mefson has just made his way past Balseeley. Let's take a look at that. Hopefully this will be slightly more entertaining than a tree. So, same set of corners. Much, yeah. You've called it, mate. Much better exit. And that just gave him the advantage down into the hairpin. And Scott, you can see there, Dougie trying to be later on the brakes, but Mefson had it done.
Yeah, as Aaron said, better exit. It's just, it was already sealed, I think, before O'Connor even came.
Yeah, absolutely. That was the case. Done and dusted. Oh, Reed's made a mistake. He's lost the lead. He's lost the lead. We're going to have to take a look at the replay and see what's happened here. He's gone from first down to third. So he clearly made a mistake already, because he was 7 seconds ahead of Foster last time we caught up. And as you can see, he's not that now. He's lost a bit of momentum, probably with dirty tyres. So at this point, he's lost out to Foster and is down in second position. And then Brenner just pins it round the outside, inside line for the next corner. And oh, what has happened to Reed? I mean, he's clearly had an incident or something. He's lost all his pace. He must have gone off track and had an accident, which wasn't showing on the replay. It must have happened just before it. But oh, devastating for him. And under pressure from Schaff as well, Aaron.
Yeah, you read my mind. I was just about to say this brings Schaff right back into play for a podium.
Yeah.
Lloyd was going to be a contender for driver of the day for me, because he had a poor race one and shown his stuff, but we must have missed something. He must have had enough.
Yeah, he's clearly got no pace now, so that car's got damage. I mean, he's falling too easily into the clutches of the drivers around him. Dan Stevens is picked up a drive-through penalty for exceeding track limits, so that will obviously destroy and end his race. So
Quick question for you.
Yeah, go for it, mate.
So obviously, Jonesy finished first, started last for this race. Where would you personally, if you were him, be happy with finishing? Because obviously he's in 7th now. I think personally I'd be very happy with that. What would you two think? Where would you two be happy with if you started from the back for the second race?
I mean, generally, in this type of racing, in a short 20-minute race, I would say if you start 20th and you finish in the top 10, you've had a good day at the office. So, I mean, I would already be extremely happy at this point. So, yeah, I mean, like I started at the back in last night's last race and finished top 5, but we've only got, was it 14 drivers? So, there's 21 drivers out there tonight. So, yeah, top 10, I mean, I'd be ecstatic with our battling from the back. Don't know about you, Aaron.
Yeah, I think, like you say, if you come in, if you overtake half of the field, you've done really well. I think You know, if we had, like we were saying last night, if we had 10 cars on the grid and you finish top 5, you think you've done well. If you've had 16 cars on the grid and you finish top 8, you've done well. You know, it's not easy getting past half the guys. So yeah, as he's shown tonight, anything past 10th, you've done really well. And I think where Metheson's place sort of backs that up as well. You know, he's only 9th.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was going to say sterling job by Johnsy to do it, because I was just going to say, to me that's impressive. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't going to say it's impressive, and it's not impressive, but it's definitely impressive.
No, it is. I mean, both him and Methison, and to be fair, fairly before that accident, which wasn't really his fault, a much slower car in front of him braking too early caught him out. It happens, but the three of them had done very well to be battling for that top 10 quite early on. Yeah, definitely a stellar drive. So we're seeing Bakehouse now try and battle Ricard for 5th position. I think Bakehouse will be happy with a top 5 position, all things considered. But these two now really catching Reed. Scharf is past Reed, a bit to the fast podium position. Are you boys still there?
Still here,
there,
but we've lost your
no
stream.
Yeah.
You've lost my screen, have you?
Yeah.
Okay, there's clearly some internet issues going on. Let me just reshare it with you, and hopefully that'll help you boys actually see what's going on. But yeah, there's I clearly got some internet issues because something's going a bit wrong. Anyway, yeah, so we are watching this three-way battle now for 4th, 5th and 6th. Reed having these problems, he's going to try and defend to Ricard. Could well cause a problem for Ricard, as he's going to be even closer now to Bakehouse as they try to battle away.
Right, man. The leader is on the final lap.
So-
Give it a final push.
Leader on the final lap, less than a minute to go, and we are seeing some serious battling now going on between these three drivers. Let's jump up to the TV camera so we can try and see a bit more. Helicam hopefully will show us how this battle is going to unfold. So we are looking at Ricard now, who's battling Lewis Ricard on his debut weekend, trying to get himself up to 4th, and he does. Brilliant move. And Johnsy's caught up to the back of this battle during all of that fun and games, and I can hear my Discord just pinging and plodding in the background, so God knows what's happening with the internet today, but hopefully people can still hear me and you guys can hear me on the stream. Johnsy, we're looking to make a move on Bakehouse, and Reed's getting a bit wide there. He's got a lot of damage. Remember, he was in 1st place, but a mistake at some point, which we haven't managed to see, has caused him to drop way back. We will see if we can see it on the race control replays at the end of the race, but he's still in 5th at the moment, which all things considered is pretty good, but he's going to be under immense pressure for the last part of this race from two very fast cars. You can see he's got no straight line speed, but there wasn't a safe place to make a move. Bakehouse goes around the inside, Johnsy up the inside, and they both somehow make the move done and are still battling with each other for this 4th position and 5th position, sorry. Johnsy manages to get himself up to 5th ahead of Bakehouse, and Reed down to 7th. What a couple of corners we saw there from those guys. Absolutely epic. Let's take a look at that on the replay. I mean, this was just absolutely brilliant stuff.
That was awesome.
And I mean, to pick off a wounded animal and then still battle with each other, and then he just made it stick around the outside. I mean, absolutely stellar driving from Johnsy in that McLaren, and we've kind of missed the end of the race there because I wanted to get that replay in while we had the opportunity to do so. But your race winner for the 2nd race, a bit fortuitously, but he'll take it nonetheless, Adam Foster with the win. Brunner on his debut weekend with a stellar 2nd position, and Scharf with an excellent 3rd. That completes your podium. Ricard gets 4th in the end, brilliant on his debut. Johnsy in only his 2nd weekend with a 1st and then a 5th place after starting from the back of the grid. And we saw Bakehouse in 6th, and they've gone a bit out of order now because people have started leaving. Reed 7th, Humphreys in 8th, Mefferson 9th, Balseely in 10th, Fairley in 11th, Morris 12th, Fairweather in 13th, Davis in 14th, Humphreys 15th, Weavers 16th, Stevens 17th, Green 18th, Prescott 19th, Tasker in 20th. Right, I'm just going to go to
Green light,
race
green light.
control
Go, go, go.
and see if there are any replays attached to the incident involving no, there aren't. Oh, okay. Never mind. I was hoping there would be some a replay to show us what happened to Reed, but there isn't one attached to it, which is a shame. So I'm just going to shut that down. I'm going to exit out of there.
We do driver of the race.
Yes, we do need to do driver of the race just before we switch over to the post-race interviews. And oh God, I'm trying to think now.
I've got my 2 nominations, and it's the same as last race, which is going to be Johnsy and Brunner.
I'm going to say Brunner. I can't give it to Johnsy twice, although I will say probably his second drive was more impressive than his first. He's already had one, so I think it would be unfair to give him both drivers of the races. But I certainly agree with Brunner getting second place, and he drove really well in the first race as well, remember. So I think those two would be worthy of getting a driver of the race each. I don't know if you agree with that, gentlemen.
I agree with that.
I agree. Definitely.
Awesome.
Bastian.
Brilliant stuff. So all good. Right, let us end this one then and pop into the other one, and hopefully yeah, my internet is going potty, so hopefully this stream is still running in some way, shape or form. But let's end this call and move over to the post-race interviews. So we are just joining in with the post-race interviews. I've got a few internet problems, gentlemen, so I may cut out. Hopefully I won't, but regardless, absolutely great of you to join us. Those of you who who have we got at the moment? We've got
just me and Damo.
Just you and Damo, that's fine, no problem. Right, where do we start? Adam, race 1, I mean, you probably, I mean, if it was me, I would have been throwing some toys out of some prams at that point. I mean, that must have been frustrating. All in the heat of battle, obviously, you got that drive through, but, I mean, immensely disappointing. But what a comeback for race 2.
Yeah, race 1, I got behind the McLarens, obviously, but they're just too quick in a straight line. I could catch them in the corners, but then pulling out of the 2 rights and the left, coming out of there, I just couldn't keep up with them. I was constantly pulling away, even in the slipstream. But race 2 had an awesome start. Jumped a few people because I messed up my quali, and I didn't really get a lap in. And yeah, then something happened to Lloyd. Don't know what quite happened to him because he was running first, and I think he ended up 4th. So
no, he ended up 7th in the end.
Okay.
In race 2, he clearly had damage because he had no pace and the car was all over the place. I didn't manage to catch on the replay what the damage was, but we just caught him as you guys were overtaking him, really. So we didn't see what happened. So we'll have to ask him, perhaps in Discord later on. But yeah, it was clearly something with damage because he just suddenly was absolutely nowhere and got swallowed up by the top 6. So a shame for him, but nevertheless, you know, you've got to finish first. First you must finish, as they say. So you've got to be really pleased. That's your first win this season, I think, in the Porsche.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, it's my first win this season. I was quite happy about that, to be honest. It's MISANO is a good track for the car, but it's not perfect for it. So yeah, I was happy with that result.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you said you were hoping the tracks would sort of come to the car as the season went on. So yeah, good haul of points here against some very quick McLarens, as you say. They clearly were very, very fast today.
Yeah, very OP today.
Yeah, Damo.
Evening.
A night to forget for you, my friend.
Yes.
Should I mention the contact with your brother in the second race, or should we leave that out?
Yeah. No. I've already texted him to apologise because it was just a royal balls up, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Stupid mistake. There was a guy who got a slow start, and I kind of got distracted by that, and just moving around and stuff under braking, locked up, and then went into the back of him and caused absolute carnage. So I obviously feel really guilty, so I'll get a penalty for that, rightly so. So I'll hold my hands up and take the penalty. But my head went a little bit then because I felt guilty.
Yeah.
And I kind of dropped back, and then I had a similar thing happen to me. Then going down into turn 4, and I just got absolutely taken out, and I was right at the back of the grid.
Yeah.
So just not a great evening really.
No,
but it happens. It happens.
You seemed to have decent pace in the first race. I mean, you were making good progress. I think you started 18th or 19th, and then you were sort of 11th or 12th, and then there was an incident with Alan, wasn't there, where he just sort of turned in on you, didn't quite know you were there, and which was a shame because it was a good battle, and you deserved a bit of space, and it looked like you were going to sort of progress up into the top 10, so that must have been frustrating.
It was because he had a bad exit out of the corner before, so I had the inside line, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to take it quite easy so I don't understeer, because give him space around the outside, because I'll still get the move done. And I feel like I was pretty much on the curb or over the curb, and I still got hit, and then obviously into the barrier, and again right to the back of the grid then. So a bit disappointed with that one again, because I felt like I had the bit between my teeth, and when those type of things happen, it kind of gets your head down, takes a couple of laps, and then you're kind of in your head and you're thinking about it, and that's what kind of happened to me a lot tonight, unfortunately. And I got in my own head a bit, and kind of spoiled the evening a little bit, really. But it's what happens in racing, isn't it? Sometimes you can't, not every day's a good day, is it?
No, it does knock the wind out of you a bit, doesn't it, when that stuff happens, and as you say, your head drops, and it takes you 3 or 4 laps to get back into it. But in a 20-minute sprint race, 3 or 4 laps before you know it, you've only got 3 laps left, haven't you? So it's
the second race more, because I made the first mistake, so I kind of felt, oh well, justified really, because I spoiled Ash's race. So I don't know. Next time we have a conversation together, he'll probably be a bit pissed off with me, rightly so. And then obviously I just got wiped out. Then a couple of corners later, and I was right at the back of the grid. So yeah, I was in a weird place then. So I was just having a little drive around and enjoying the sunset and whatnot.
Yep, no, fair enough. So a question for you both, but I'll ask you first, Dame, as we're speaking, and then I'll come back to Adam in a sec. So we move to a British track next week. We're at Donington, a different prospect, a long endurance race. So that means it'll be a 2-hour race. So thoughts, confidence, comfortable with the track? Give us a bit of an insight ready for next week.
Yeah, well, I try and get a bit more practice in this week. I tend to do better in the endurance races because I tend to be more steady Eddie than rapid, and I tend to approach my driving and my setup like that as well. So I typically do okay in the endurance races because I don't tend to make that many mistakes. So yeah, I'm hoping north of 10. If I was like 7th or 8th, that would be a great result. I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, and Adam, do you feel, again, this is a track that's coming more towards the Porsche now?
Yeah, definitely the track is suited to the Porsche, and I love the track as well. It's one of my best. So hopefully it's going to be good. But as you said, 2 hours. It's going from day to night, and there will be rain at some point.
Oh, we got mixed conditions for next week.
Yeah. Folks,
next week you've got to tune in. Mixed conditions will absolutely be fantastic. That's great to hear. Just wanted to mention while I've got you guys on, it was great to see some new drivers in there, some quick new drivers. Johnsy obviously winning and then get himself up to 5th in the second race. and he's Welsh as well, so I did give him a little shout out about 55
Yeah.
times. And,
He thinks he's an amateur as well. He keeps saying, but he's definitely going pro.
I can vouch that he's definitely not. No, it was obviously great to see these new guys, him, Brunner, Fairley, all challenging towards the top, making this league really competitive and really interesting. When you see, people such as Ash Humphreys and Bart Tonks and Wes Beerkaus who are struggling now to sort of get, I don't know, fifth or sixth at times because these guys are so quick. It's great, and especially with the mixed grid, it really does make it really interesting. So it's really added a lot of value to the league, seeing these new guys come in. But we just to mention, John Z had our driver of the race for race 1 and Brunner for race 2.
Okay.
So I'll apply those points as requested. We're really looking forward to next week now. Long endurance, we're going to have variable weather. Absolutely can't wait. As you can see on your screen there, folks, you've got the race calendar ahead, so we'll be back normal time, normal place for Final Drive Sim Racing, and we look forward to seeing you then. Thanks again to the drivers. Congratulations to Adam Foster and John Z, our race winners, and well done to all the drivers for taking part. It is not easy to race on this sim, so well done everyone. Thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you next week for Donington Park.
Thank you.